Hello, this is just a short video to talk about Play-Doh and how wonderful Play-Doh is and how wonderful making Play-Doh at home is with your child. Now we might just think it's something to play with, Play-Doh, and to manipulate and enjoy, but there's so much high quality learning and development that comes from actually making Play-Doh at home with your child. We try and make Play-Doh with the children here as much as possible, but actually being able to do it one-to-one with a grown-up at home gives them lots of experience of some key learning aspects, such as measuring, which is a big part of numeracy as well, understanding the sort of scientific idea of things changing property as well, and seeing that in a very physical way. The literacy aspects of being able to follow a set of instructions and understanding that if they don't follow them exactly, things might happen a little bit differently as well. And there's the fine and the gross motor development as well, which is so key to us being able to develop our young writers as well. So, I'm not going to show you in this video how to make the Play-Doh. We've got a set of instructions which we'll share on Seesaw, but we'll also have paper copies as well if you want to pick one up at the nursery, which have pictures as well, so you can use the instructions with your child at home and they can use the pictures to help them read the instructions with you. That's a pre-reading skill of using those picture clues to understand what's going on, and you could be reading the words to show them what it means as well. So again, another really rich literacy experience. The Play-Doh that we make, there's lots of different ways of making Play-Doh. Often they have to cook it, but we've got a really simple recipe where it doesn't involve cooking, where you don't need boiling water, but warm water, and where it'll last maybe for about a week, and you could use it and reuse it and put it in a tub and seal it, so you get the most use out of it. Our recipe also just uses everyday sort of ingredients, so plain flour, some salt. We've also got cream of tartar. Now you don't have to put cream of tartar in it because that just helps it last longer. If you don't have any cream of tartar at home, that's fine. You don't need to add it. Some vegetable oil and some warm water. It's really simple, and it's hopefully involving ingredients you may have in the cupboard or you can access quite easily at your local shop as well. And again, the tools are really simple. A big bowl, a wooden spoon for stirring, a cup for measuring, and in fact having 2 cups is really useful in a moment, and I'll explain why. A tablespoon and a teaspoon. And as I say, when you follow these instructions, there's all those different aspects of measuring, but they're not reliant on your children having to understand all those bigger numbers or being able to read the display on a weighing scale, but actually using everyday objects to measure a quantity and amount. So for example, in our recipe, flour is 2 cups of flour that goes in, and we have half a cup of salt. So they can use the cup, it's easy for them to count 2 as well, and it can all get mixed in really easily. The other thing I say about having 2 cups is the tricky things for children are fractions. And actually, we need to start learning about fractions really early in a practical sense. So when we talk about our first fraction that we really learn, it's half. So we talk about halving a cake or cutting a sandwich in half. All these practical things where you can talk about it being half, where you're splitting something into 2 bits that are the same. So that's why I've said 2 cups when we're working out a half. Might seem a bit odd, but what I do if we want half a cup of salt is I fill 1 cup up to the brim, and then we share it between the 2 cups, so each cup has the same amount, and they can see it's got the same amount, and you can talk about, well, half of the salt is in this one, and half of the salt is in here. You can tip half the salt in the bowl, and the other half can go back in your salt tub or your bag of salt as well. It's an odd thing, it might seem odd, but actually that process of halving the item so they understand the quantity is really key at this level as well. Things like our tablespoons for measuring our oil in as well. A nice tip is use the big tablespoon, You can get them to hold it on the side there, and you do the pouring and get them to tip them as they count as well. And it will get a bit messy, which is fine, because learning is a bit messy sometimes. The other important thing that this experience gives your child is lots of gross motor movement that you might not expect. Once you've got your mixture, your dry mix in the bowl, and they start to mix the bowl like this, actually what's happening is they're using this arm movement here, their shoulder, their arm, their elbow movement, and it can be quite tough and tricky for them. That's a good thing, because they're building up the muscles, they're building up that control. And what we've found over generations of working with young children is before they get that fine motor control of being able to write and draw carefully, they need this big gross motor movement and this strength and control of their arms to build up too. So this is a really good opportunity for them to do that. Any sort of baking as well. The other sort of things to build these movements are throwing and catching balls and all that physical play that we do outside, jumping, climbing, and that sort of thing too. And then once you've got your Play-Doh, think about all that fine motor opportunities it provides. Being able to roll, being able to manipulate it to roll it into a ball, pinching it, building up those strong muscles in their hands as well, which all build up to being able to hold a pencil correctly. A child can't hold a pencil correctly and write in a fluent way if they haven't built up these shoulder muscles and arms and control, and they haven't built up those hand muscles. Other great things for building up that fine motor are things like block play, building things with blocks without having to pinch and lift things as well. So building lots of opportunities for that too. And hopefully this will give you a bit of an idea of why we love Play-Doh so much and why the process of making it is so good as well. So have a look at the recipe, and we really encourage you to give it a try at home. We're always here to answer any questions you might have too.